everyone, welcome back to Wrestling Forever. I'm What's Left of Billy Kirkwood, and of course I'm here with the #1 Celtic football podcast, Mogul, throw up the ones. I'm here with Rightful Simons. We're not going to mess about. This is a special episode because, I don't know, Ryan, do enough people really realise that Monday is going to be a landmark moment, not only in wrestling, but in entertainment in general, when Monday Night Raw hits Netflix?
Well, I don't know about you, Billy, right, but all that my group chat has been doing for the past few months has been making the same joke. Do you know Raw's gone to Netflix? Do you know Raw's got to Netflix? Because they haven't shut up about it, but the day has finally come, Billy. Raw and WWE in general is on Netflix. SmackDown will be on Netflix. Pay-per-views will be on Netflix, at least over this side of the pond. And this is a massive day in the history of professional wrestling and sports entertainment, if you like, because this is the first time ever that it's been so accessible around the world, and yet they're quite rightly parading it round everywhere they go, because it's probably the biggest deal that they've had in the history of the company. It's probably the biggest moment in terms of a business point of view. This is a massive episode of Raw coming up, Billy. In fact, I would go as far to say this is arguably the biggest episode of Raw in the history of Monday Night Raw.
It's hard to argue with, man. It's absolutely hard to argue with. It is so weird that, first of all, we all raised a glass at New Year to the death of the WWE Network. You looked after us.
I was so sad, So sad.
It was quite sad, but you know, I love the WWE Network. Netflix is probably the only other place this is accessible. People, and we had a little chat before we started, people that have not been involved with wrestling for years are going to go, oh, see that WWE's on Netflix. I've not watched that in years. I'm going to dive in. And it's that simple, because if you don't have Sky TV, if you didn't have BT Sports, not a lot of people have a satellite dish in this day and age. They are not going to be seeking out their sports that way, their entertainment that way. It's all Netflix, man. So this is massive. And I would encourage you, if you are a wrestling fan, a lapsed wrestling fan, come on back in and take a dip, because trust me, the waters are very different in 2025.
I don't know about you, Billy, but I have already seen the first-hand proof that it's working. I've already had mates who haven't watched wrestling since maybe they were 10, 11 years old message me and go, have I read this right? Is Raw on Netflix on Monday? I'm like, aye, and I have to explain to them what's happening. And not only with friends, maybe lapsed wrestling fans, even my mother, she came bursting up the stairs the other day. And I don't know if you've been on Netflix since they've kind of transitioned over, but the loading screens are like, oh, Raw this Monday, Tuesday. My mum came bursting into the room. I didn't know that the wrestling was on Netflix, and she's no watched it. She used to watch it with me when I was young, and we had to watch it in the one shared television. And she used to slag Stephanie McMahon and talk about Paul Heyman, and she used to call Bray Wyatt a wee greaseball and all the rest of it. And she was busting into the room to go, the wrestling's on. So it's working, you know. It's got people talking. It's got people realising that it's on such an accessible network, and it's huge.
First of all, Mama Fitzsimons has broken my heart a little bit that she's had a go at Steph McMahon. How dare you?
She hates her. The
one that got away, Steph, I know you've moved on. I think you've done all right. The one that got away. But no, I think it's great. I mean, even a friend of mine, I won't say his name, who is a radio presenter, who's one of the single most embarrassing, cringy men I've ever met in my life. He's somebody that rewrites his past more than probably the WWE Network does. Like, he turned around and went, when I was at school, I was trouble. I mean, my friends called me Basher, and I was like, shut the fuck up. They called you Basher. Well, you know, a 1930s comic book. What on earth?
It's like a character for the Beano, isn't it?
And it's just ridiculous. But in that regards, he then said, excited to sit down and watch it, because I went on like you, checked out Netflix. First of all, it looks great. All the events are there. All the events are there with the timings. You can set a reminder. God, we can set a reminder for Monday Night Raw. You can set a reminder.
Who'd have thought?
And of course, the Royal Rumble's on there. We've already got some made-for Netflix programming on there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm cautiously optimistic about it, but let's talk about Raw itself, right? Because I think they are, you said it as well, this could be the biggest Raw of all time. It potentially has, in terms of exposure for WWE, or certainly in this new era, it has to be, man. They are setting the table a little bit for reintroducing WWE to a whole new audience, right? Yep. You want it to come on, you want the little kids to go, what the hell is this, mum and dad? You want the people that are Labs fans to go, fuck me, this is cool. And you want us guys to get our service. So we keep buying the t-shirts and we keep buying the live event tickets for the big ones. So shall we have a look at what's rumoured already?
Yes, of course. I want to talk about this show from top to bottom. I've got a lot of thoughts and I've got a lot of opinions. Billy, this is huge. I can't remember an excitement like this for an episode of Raw since maybe Raw 1000. I am absolutely buzzing.
I will say this: there's a lot of misinformation out there.
Oh yeah, of course.
There's a lot of misinformation out there. First of all, I will say, see when Raws have had their big landmarks before, I've always felt like I was let down. So this
I can agree with that. I really enjoyed Raw 1000. I thought that was an all-timer of an episode. Right. But many of the other ones that I think they've done over the years, I remember they've done the one where, do you remember the infamous, it was like the 25th anniversary or whatever, and they had half of the show in the original building, then half of the show in an arena, and it was just an absolute calamity. That for example, that can't happen again. This has to be hit out the park, Babe Ruth style. Boom, first hit.
Let's take a quick look. First of all, there's lots of rumors out there. Like I said, they're setting the table for WrestleMania, which you would expect with this. You want people to get excited about all the events between now and then, but you also want them going tuning in to Raw next week. We reckon this is going to do massive numbers. That's going to level out at some point. I mean, let's put it this way. It better do bigger numbers than it ever did in the USA Network consistently. Otherwise, this has been a dismal fucking failure. And TNA will be going, yes, get it up, yeah. There's a lot of big exposure for wrestling this week. Netflix, I should say AEW is going to be hitting Max as well.
That's right.
It's going to be a big weekend. We can talk more about that later. Probably... Let's go with some of the under stuff that's rumoured. First of all, Penta is meant to be making his debut. We're very excited about that. Rumour has it teaming up with Rey Mysterio to take on the New Day. Believe that when I see it. I don't know if you've heard that rumour. Wyatt Six are said to have a big segment. We have heard rumours of some big name returns. Alexa Bliss has been thrown out there. Surprise appearances from Stone Cold, Steve Austin, The Undertaker. Not out the realms of possibility. We could see Brock Lesnar maybe make a return. Is this the time? They've held him off. There seems to be the mixed heat with that. Mixed feelings with that. Who does he work with? You know what I mean? I'll go straight into that. Goldberg making an appearance. Really fussed about Goldberg, to be honest.
Well, I mean, I don't personally care, but there's a good... I mean, he's said that 2025 is the last dance, so there's a high possibility of it.
That's cool. There's a lot of it going around, though. There's a lot of it going around, and I don't know how excited I am about...
That's the thing. That's the thing, Billy. The thing that going into this Raw I have thought the most about is trying to strike that balance between the future, the past, and the present, and trying to bring back maybe lapsed wrestling fans, but while also at the same time showing them that there is a future that doesn't involve these people, because you can't get these guys all out the first episode of Raw. Pardon my grotesque use of the phrase, but you can't blow your load in the first night, Billy. Wow. You can't blow your load in the first night because you want to bring these guys back. And if you give them The Undertaker, Goldberg, and all the rest of it on this first night, and then you go into week 2 and it's back to the guys that they're not familiar with, you're going to be thinking they've been sold a false advertisement. So there's a real balance that they need to find here in episode 1.
Oh, yeah, totally. And this episode is going to be fun. Like, it's going to go by a fair click. This is going to have to be locked and loaded and fun, which is something you do get at WrestleMania, I'll say that much, but we can't have anything protracted out. Rumours of Batista making his return as the first WWE Class Hall of Famer in 2025. Great, but I don't think it needs to be on this episode.
No disrespect. It's a bit early for Hall of Fame season, isn't it? No
disrespect to Dave Batista.
Love him.
But do we need him on this? You know, it's he hasn't had any big hits in a little while. I have nothing against Dave Batista. We can do this another week. But some of the names we have heard, Logan Paul is confirmed to be on the show. Rumor has it Becky Lynch, which is massive. Charlotte Flair making a return. The new logo and the new stage. We got to talk about the fucking... What's the name again? Is it Def? Who's the guys that does the music?
Oh, Def Rebel. That's right. So what's the script with, what's the script with Def Rebel? Because apparently their contracts were to expire on the 31st of December. I want confirmation that contract is finished, it's gone, and they're gone.
God!
Good. I don't know how I want them away.
I don't know how I want their place, but I just want Anybody. I'll take
Well,
Daft Punk at this point.
the talk is that the Raw theme is going to be Travis Scott, isn't it? So I think that's what we're getting for the actual theme song. They want to use mainstream artists. That's a huge selling point nowadays.
Yeah.
They've got so many affiliations with all of these huge artists nowadays.
I was trying to figure out what affiliation was.
I don't know why.
I've never heard.
I don't know why I pronounced it so wrong, Billy. But they've got all of these affiliations now. I mean, you're talking about the look and the feel of the show. Are we going to get started on the ring mat? Have you seen the ring mat?
Right, now that I've seen a lot of talk of this online. Here's the thing, yeah, it's going to be covered with adverts and what have you.
Mm-hmm.
Again,
Fortnite in the middle of the ring.
Is it though? Is it though? Is it though? I mean, they are going to have to pay for advertising. Let's talk about it, because there isn't any advertising, and rumor has it the show will not run with advertising, which means there's going to be a lot of tie-ins. This thing needs to make huge numbers and is going to have to sell advertising within the program, which you would see when you saw Mike Tyson taking on Jake Paul. You saw advertising there. They haven't done a lot of sports events. We haven't seen a lot of sports events on Netflix, so this is just going to be what it is. So when you tune into the big movie that they're releasing and you see The Rock taking a swig out of some Pepsi, somebody's paid for that, folks. I hate to break that to you, but there it is. So talking about The Rock return. Now this one seems to be almost locked in, because The Rock is going to be down the road. I think it's at the Grammys. Is that what they call it?
The Golden Globes. Golden Globes.
Rumor has it he's in the area and is currently in between movies. So The Rock making an appearance. I thought Rock was fantastic in his run into WrestleMania last year.
Arguably the best Rock run we've seen. It was for some people.
It was buck-ass short, and I'm not as excited about The Rock coming back as everyone else is. I'll have to admit.
I am a famous critique of Dwayne The Rock Johnson. I refer to the man as Dwayne rather than The Rock for the famous grudge that I hold against him.
Dwayne!
If things are done right with Dwayne, then I have no fault with him coming back. But I just don't want this to be... He appears on Netflix's first edition of Monday Night Raw to say, I'm The Rock, I run this place, and then he rides off into the sunset not knowing what comes next. I need this to be a pivotal part of storytelling, Billy. This can't just be The Rock coming out to give 1, 2, 3 with his fingers or whatever that was at Bad Blood. I need a pivotal piece of the story which dictates what's maybe coming next for him, rather than it all being up in the air.
Well, you know, they reckon that he could, if nothing else, be involved with the tribal combat Ulafala match. That would make sense, I guess. But you know what I would love? I'm just chucking out there. You know, I'd love CM Punk versus Seth Rollins. CM Punk goes off the ropes. Boom! The Rock takes him out.
Really?
From the other side of the ring.
Right.
You're running the clock back. Who was the person that stood up to The Rock when he was on that stage and made fun of him? It was CM Punk.
Do you know what would be so full circle about all of that? Do you remember Raw 1000?
Yes.
When it was CM Punk who attacked The Rock and had that heel turn of a moment on that huge edition of Monday Night Raw. That would be so full circle for it to be the flip of The Rock now doing it to CM Punk.
For the record, I don't think that's going to happen.
No, I don't think.
It would be a way to save Punk from either losing to Seth Rollins, or I can't really pick a winner in that match. Maybe we'll talk about that more in a second. So there's a lot going on from the ring match. I think we're just going to have to accept it, folks. I don't like it. There's nothing we can do about it. Let's not talk about it too much. That's all I'm going to say, because I think we're just going to get pissed about it. Most wrestling companies you see in this day and age tend to have some type of branding on the mat, around the mat. Look at our pals
at the end of the day, we're all going to get used to it, aren't we? It's just we all looked at the Prime logo at WrestleMania and breathed through our teeth, and now it feels like it's not even there. We'll get used to it.
If they paid enough money, Brazzers or Pornhub would be in the middle of that goddamn ring.
Exactly.
But you guys just all have to calm the fuck down about it, would be my advice. And they have not paid for sponsorship on Wrestling Forever. I want to make that very clear. Unless they want to, we'll take the cash. More than happy
I'll
to.
take it. More than happy.
More than happy, right? Big one we got to talk about, and this has led to a lot of rumors in the last couple of days, is John Cena's farewell tour beginning, right?
Oh, Billy, I'm not ready. I'm not ready for this.
I'm not ready, and it seems to be the season of people announcing farewell tours. Jeff Jarrett just did it over in AEW, and I am all in because I love me a bit of Jeff Jarrett, the Last Outlaw. Come on, Jeff. I love that. But John Cena, arguably, has anyone really managed a successful farewell tour in Western professional wrestling? I don't know if they have. I really don't know if they have.
Stings was okay.
Stings was the closest. Stings was 100% the closest. Announcing the date and going for it. I mean, he has said that this would be... So this coming up is his last WrestleMania, I think he said?
This is his last WrestleMania, and everything this year will be his last. His last Rumble, his last Chamber, his last Mania. He is due to finish up at the end of the year. So this is his last WrestleMania, but not his last match.
Yeah. So, let's unpack a couple of rumours just quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Cody versus Cena has been rumoured.
Mm-hmm.
Not offended, but one of those is going to be a heel. Coming out and saying it, one of those is going to be a heel.
I can see why you think one of them has to be a heel. Yep. But I think if there's any two guys that can make it work without them being a heel, it's those two working together. Just because I think that Cena has that edge to him where he can be a bit of a dick. And Cody's got that edge to him where he can be still the face, but talking about his abilities in quite a kind of arrogant way. I don't know. Yeah. I think they're maybe two of the only guys that would be able to make that work at such a high level for a championship when both of them are face.
Do you know we haven't had Icon versus Icon properly since Rock versus Hogan, I guess. So that this would
Rock versus Cena.
Rock versus Cena, I guess. You know, with respect to Cena at that point, he's now Hulk Hogan. He's now like. This is the final.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's on the opposite end of it now. Uh-huh.
Yeah. It's 100%. It's just although as much as I liked, I don't know. They did it twice, so that always pissed me off. They did. Once in a lifetime. You mean twice? You. But regardless of that, I don't know where it's all going to be emotional. I hope that this is a great year of storytelling and a great year of booking for John Cena. He has been a servant. He's been putting people over. He's been great. In his last few years in and out of the company. We need to see Super Cena's the wrong way of putting it, but we need to see some wins from John Cena.
Oh yeah, of course.
Just not staring at the lights. Oh, but it's about pushing the new generation. It's right. Well, okay, we'll book it in a way that losing.
A very weird position that Cena comes into here, where his last match that he won, his last singles match, that he won, was in 2019, Billy. He's not won a singles match since 2019. So
come on.
I think John Cena, there's a mix here. There's a 50-50 for me, where number one, you can get away with doing whatever you want to do with John Cena because he's John Cena. The other half is trying to add that believability where he does need to maybe bring himself back to level. But I think that's what we're going to... So this is a couple of questions I wanted to ask you before we do move on. I know we're probably going to run through our predictions for the show, but in terms of the Cena tour kicking off, the farewell tour kicking off, how do you think it kicks off? What do you think happens on Monday? And do you think there's a first opponent in mind? Now, taking into consideration here that I think the Royal Rumble is going to be John Cena's first big match, which means I don't think he'll be slotted into a rivalry just yet.
Yeah.
But I do think that he might have a match before that just to get him warmed up, just to get him back into the swing of things. So what's your predictions for the tour kicking off on Monday?
Well, you know something? If we wanted to throw in a surprise, if we wanted to throw in the hook of, hey, you have to watch that next week because you never know what will happen on Monday Night Raw, maybe we're going to have it on Monday. Maybe we're going to have...
I think there's a chance of it.
A tag match or something in there. Maybe him with the Wyatt Six. Maybe it's something like that. A popular act that's up and coming that's going to get a buzz, but it's a believability. Could the New Day try and trump...
Not a bad shout.
John Cena's retirement promo going, where were you, John? Where were you when we've been getting blasted by these arseholes for the last, month and a half or
I can see
whatever it is. But I think you're right. I think Cena declares for the Rumble will be the big one because he's never indicated coming after the world title. I want the main event at WrestleMania. I want the World's Heavyweight Championship. Be selfish. Give us what we want. What we want from you. We want you to break Ric Flair's record. We want you to break the record. Declare declare, and this is something that can bubble along on our way to Mania. That's what I'd want. I'd be excited to see John Cena get that run going into WrestleMania. I really, really would. And put over everybody. Don't get too schmaltzy, because we've got a year of this, John. And as much as we're gonna miss you, we got a year of this. So that's what I think I'd like. I'd like a good positive. We're excited to be here. I'm declaring for the Rumble. I did say this is my last year, and I don't do things by halves. Let's fucking go for it.
I think for me, I think it's a declare for the Rumble. As you said, I agree. I think that's how you kick it off. I think he'll come out. I think there's a chance he opens the show on Monday. Billy, I think he might open the Netflix era altogether. And I think until the Rumble, there's a solid chance. So many people are talking about who is Cena going to work with between now and the end of his career? Who is he going to dedicate his time to? I don't think that question needs to necessarily be as big. I have a feeling that there's going to be nights where he might just be approached, and I think it could happen as early as Monday, where, I don't know, a Ludwig Kaiser or a Grayson Waller comes out just to cut him off, and then it gets turned into a one-off match. That's it done. He's worked with somebody young. That's what I think might end up happening with the likes of a Braun Breaker. Maybe down the line, maybe in a few months, where Braun Breaker comes out, they work together on an episode of Raw, and that's that. I think that they could do plenty of that with Cena, because he's tied down to so many dates. So I think from between now and the Rumble, it's just about getting back into the swing of things.
And I think you're right. He's going to get the opportunity to work with all the big names with Saturday night's main events as well. You got to chuckle in there.
Yeah,
it's not ridiculous. We're going to get him versus Orton one more time, him versus Punk one more time.
Hope so.
Maybe Punk getting a shot at, who knows, title versus title. Like, there's so many delicious opportunities, and that's what I'm excited about with John Cena and the Mites, because he feels fresh is the wrong way of putting it, because the act isn't going to change much. I saw some people going wondering, in his final year, is he going to be heel? I mean,
I don't see it.
I don't see it, but you'll have to turn him face before he finishes up.
Yeah. If it was a heel run, if he had any heel run in this, I think it's like for a couple of months through the summer, and then that's that. It goes back to normal John to finish things up.
Maybe we'll see old Doctor of Thugonomics.
Yeah, maybe. That's the closest I think we get to it. The closest we get
I think so. I would be surprised, but I'm open to being surprised.
But one big question, Billy.
Yes, sir.
Will he have a buzz cut? Will he sort the hair out?
Listen, we're all getting a wee bit older. We're all starting to thin out a wee bit and stuff. I totally get that, but fucking hell, John. like, whoever you get to do the movies when they do that bit at the back, could WWE pay them an extra couple of dollars and get them to come
in every Monday?
Yeah, we gotta do something. If the this is gonna make me sound like a cunt, but if the ladies can wrestle with wigs on, I don't see why John Cena can't.
Do you remember when they done that parody wrestling show on YouTube a few years back? It was like Southpaw Wrestling or something.
Oh, I loved Southpaw Wrestling.
And he had I loved it as well. And he had the news wig on. Get that? Just slap that on his head.
I proper loved Southpaw Wrestling.
So good.
And rumor had it that if it hadn't been for COVID, they were maybe going to do a couple of shows, and it was like,
yeah, I seen that.
I would have loved that. I would have loved that.
Shame.
So right, maybe we can sit here and theorize as to what the actual content's going to be, but I think we're all up for being surprised, and I really, really am. I want WWE to smash this, and oh god, I heard that they've taken off. They're going to take off about 6 weeks worth of house shows over January and February to give everyone a bit of a rest, not only creatively, Triple H to get to spend some time with his wife and kids and what have you.
Well, I think that's confirmed now that the next house show isn't until they come to Europe in March.
Great.
So that's it. Just TV until then.
Great. Well, the TV is what they're going to have to focus on. And the idea, I assume, is also partly, well then, oh my God, WWE are coming to town. I have to buy tickets.
Yes,
exactly. They want that. I have to buy.
They want to sell out every single show. They want fans to be going onto Twitter and seeing the posts: Raw sold out, SmackDown sold out, Saturday Night Main Event sold out. That's the ultimate. That's the whole part of being in the business. Yeah.
Although I'm going to chuck in a wee thing just quickly. If we can make maybe the developmental shows a bit cheaper. I want to just chuck that in there. I saw someone complaining about how much it was for an NXT show the other day, and I was like,
I always thought that NXT. Do you know what? This might have just been sheer stupidity on my part. I thought NXT was free. I thought it was like a first come first served. I
think tapings are, but some of the house shows and are still costing.
Oh yes, of course, house shows and stuff.
And the pay-per-views are expensive as well.
Right.
I'm just chucking that out there. But hey, they've got to make money. They've got to pay bills. I know how it works. Right, let's look at some of these matches, shall we? We have got Drew McIntyre versus Jey Uso. No issue with that at all. No issue with that at all. I think Drew's going to be has to be the monster heel and the odds-on favorite for the Rumble. I would assume that's where they're building him. And he's the most, God, he's Netflix ready, man.
Yeah.
He's gorgeous.
I think according to the bookies, he's the 4th favourite for the Rumble behind Rock, Cena and Punk. I think they're the top 3 at the minute. But Drew is obviously got momentum on his side right now. And beating, like, Jey is a guy who, no matter win, lose or draw, is going to be one of the most popular acts in the business. Him losing to Drew does nothing. Whereas I think if Drew was to lose to Jey, I would be kind of thinking to myself, well, this makes no sense. Drew's off the back of this Hitman-esque big badass run just to lose to the Yeet Master, and this is going to be a big win for Drew. And you know what? They really need to build this believability going into the Rumble that Drew is a legitimate threat of winning it.
We need those. That's what the most successful Rumbles are of the past, where you would see Roman Reigns would come in, you see Kane come in, you see The Undertaker come in. These names. Once upon a time, I called Drew the new Phenom. He is the new Phenom. He's the guy. He's the guy to beat. He's the guy to beat. And so when his music hits, you go, oh shit. Same with Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar has that believability. Music head, you go, oh shit, this guy could win it. You need lots of that going into the Royal Rumble. That's what I need in terms of stories. Whether he wins or not, I don't know. The only way Drew could lose here would be shenanigans. And who is the person that we would go, holy fuck, why would they be mental enough to do that to Drew McIntyre? I can't think of anybody. I genuinely can't think of anybody right now. So fingers crossed it's gonna lead to something else. Then we've got the big one. Is it the end of the feud or is it this part of a new chapter? Women's World Title, last woman standing match. Rhea Ripley, the Destroyer, taking on Liv Morgan.
Yep, this has to be the end, Billy. I'm afraid for now. For this chapter of it has to be done. And if there is to be another chapter, it can't be straight away. I think we need to wait, let them cool, go with other folk, do other things. The bookies have Rhea Ripley as the runaway favourite for this match. She is due to win this title according to many. I don't think I'm as convinced of Rhea winning on Raw. I must admit, I don't know. I'm so torn on who I think wins this match. But as long as it ends here, I need it to be done.
I guess, like, this is what I'd call, like, a cereal box win. You know, it's like if Rhea wins, it's like, oh, you know, the advertisers will be happy, people watching and go, oh my God, look at her. She's a superstar. That's amazing. That all makes sense, blah, blah, blah. But in terms of the WWE world, I think Liv Morgan needs to move on. Who does she move on to? I don't know. I'm glad this isn't going to Mania. Because that would be
far too long away.
4 months away.
Yeah.
Unless we're going to get Dom versus Rhea at Mania, right? Which is the only match I could see. And even then, I still think Dom needs to win.
And I think it would suit Dom's character down to a T to win that match by like the scummiest way possible. Like some help, some assistance, if that does happen, that is. Yeah,
so this match, very much looking forward to letting these two women just tear it up, really.
I mean, it's the last women standing, isn't it? So you're straight away hoping for some good viewing, some spots that maybe spice it up a wee bit, and I think it should be a great match.
I can't think of anyone making a debut here that would be a huge impact, unless Becky or Charlotte, but even then, I don't see where it goes. I don't really. But hey, look, I'm surprised. I think you're right. I think I want Liv to win, but I think Rhea's going to win. I'll be honest.
I think I'm keen to agree with you on that. I'm not certain on it with Rhea winning, but I think if I had a gun to my head and I was to pick who I think would win, I think it would probably be Rhea.
Unless they were going to do mad shenanigans, Liv's hurt herself, Dom's going to have to take her place.
Have Dom fighting a women's championship match. Let's do it.
How ridiculous would that be?
I would love to see the react. I'm sure that the internet would react in such a perfectly normal manner.
I mean, they're known how to react so well for change. That's give me some fun with that if you can. That'd be great. Next, we're talking Tribal Combat Ula Fala. A lot of people saying seeds have been kind of planted for this one, Ryan. What is the true relationship between Solo Sikoa and Paul Heyman? We saw a little bit of that on SmackDown the other night, which again was good fun. is the favour of CM Punk still in there somewhere? Is that still in the mix? I don't know. What's your thoughts on this, man? What's your thoughts?
I don't want it to be the main event, but now that it's scheduled to be Dwayne in Los Angeles, I have a feeling this will be the main event. I don't know. Maybe I'm off on that. Maybe I'm wrong. I think that Punk and Seth should be main event. We'll get to that. But this match itself, similar to what I said about Liv and Rhea, kind of hoping it ends this chapter of things for now. Not saying that they can't revisit it, but I think give a wee bit of time for both guys to do different things, maybe chill out a wee bit. The Paul Heyman stuff is very, very interesting though, and that throws a massive complication to this match for me, because if you take Heyman aside, I think that Roman Reigns is a surefire to win this match, right? I really do. I think it's just Roman's way of coming back, getting his one-on-one win, allowing him to go on to whatever's next for him and being the top guy again. But Paul Heyman doesn't make it as straightforward as that, does he? Because there's a real solid chance that he's there to help Solo Sikoa, Billy. So I really don't know who's going to win this. I'm so conflicted.
The only thing that bothers me about this swerve is, and why am I putting logic into pro wrestling? That's fucking ridiculous, right? But
logic?
Yeah, like, you know, to say the sentence out loud sounds ridiculous, right? But so they put in the seed that Paul, like Solo Sikoa, was bullying him, and then power bombed him through a table. And then kind of hoped that Roman Reigns would come back and try and form, and then fail, and then he comes back and they lose multiple matches, and then to do the swerve, like I don't know. That seems silly to say out loud, but it is also the world of pro wrestling. When did Solo get to Paul Heyman? When did Paul Heyman get to Solo? We don't know. Who do you think's winning? Who do you think? So you think Roman?
Right. Well, I think there's one telling thing in this match, right? And it's a huge if. We don't know who's working with who at WrestleMania. It's all up in the air. We're hearing different reports every single week, right?
Yeah.
But if Cody Rhodes is scheduled to face John Cena like is being reported, that means to me that if The Rock is on this card, it has to be Rock and Roman. Who else would The Rock fight that isn't Roman Reigns, right? And if it's going to be The Rock versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, which it might be, it might not be, you can't have Roman Reigns losing to Solo Sikoa if that is your WrestleMania main event. So I'm leaning towards Roman Reigns.
I'm so torn. Because part of me almost wants to see that bloodline led by The Rock with Paul Heyman as a mouthpiece. Just see that visual. That visual. But then, fuck it, man. Jacob Fatu is going to be the biggest fucking baby face in the world when he wins.
I know. Oh, you're struggling as well to pick.
I am struggling because it's kind of what I want. But listen, I think Roman Reigns is fantastic. I totally do.
It's not like Roman needs these wins.
Yeah, Roman versus Rock. I'm not offended by it, Mania, but I'm not thinking about Mania. I'm thinking about this. Oh, fuck it. I'm going to give Solo the win.
I'm going to Solo.
I'm going to give Solo the win just because
it's nice to have a difference.
I think it just gives him more.
Yeah, he's the guy that needs to win more than Roman. As I said, it's not as if Roman Reigns needs a win in this kind of match.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, if he does go on to fight The Rock or not, it's still Roman versus The Rock. It's still huge. I just feel like that's surely got to have some tribal chief consequence to it, and that would entail Roman winning back the Ulafala. But as you said, Solo probably gains more from this win if he wins it.
Yeah, and we don't know what tribal combat actually is.
No, we don't. Do you remember SummerSlam when it was Roman and Jey, and it was like, oh, whatever the rules were, there can't be any interference or whatnot, and then everybody started interfering.
Yeah. So it's like, it's anyone's fucking guess what tribal combat is. So good luck. And then the big one, the one that we think should be probably main event in this.
Can't wait.
This is 18 months in the making. 18, no, maybe slightly less, maybe 14, 13, 15 months, 18, 27 months. Fuck it. 10 years in the making.
You've got some Steiner maths on the go here.
It is, well, according to the promos, this is a decade in the making. CM Punk versus Seth Rollins. No other things added onto the match. no stipulations. This is just going to be two guys that can't fucking stand each other. What do you think?
This is, for me, this is the... We throw around the term best in the world so often. And obviously CM Punk, part of his whole persona is that he is the best in the world. In my opinion, right now, you've got the best in the world pre-2015, and the best in the world post-2015 of that decade that just passed. These are the two guys that I think throughout the 2010s were the two top guys in WWE for the respective times they were there. This is huge. This is genuinely massive, and I think that a win in this match is such a show of backing to whoever it is, whether it's Punk, whether it's Seth. I just think this is such a huge, huge match. For even just the politics of the entire company, I don't know. There's just something about this match that for me is bigger than wrestling itself.
Yeah.
I love both of these guys, and as you know, I'm obviously a CM Punk fanboy till I die, and I want him to win. Is there more to it, Billy? Is there more to it after this match? Is it a one and done? Do they keep going until the Rumble? What happens? Because if it's a one and done for now, I don't know, man. I think Punk takes it. I do. And that's me trying my best not to look through the Punk tinted glasses, but I don't know. It seems like there's bigger plans for Punk going into Mania.
Yes, they've heard those rumours chucked about as well.
Yeah.
I guess what's next for Seth is maybe the we don't want to read too far down the road, right? We don't want to read too far down the road.
Exactly.
So let's look at this.
I think we're maybe a bit guilty of that sometimes.
Yeah. So let's just look at this on its own. Who is the most fun? You know, Seth is great on the mic. He is fucking great on the mic, but he is.
Can I just say that promo battle last week was fantastic?
Was brilliant. Mm-hmm. He's not quite as good as Punk.
Mm-hmm.
He's not quite as good as Punk, but I know. Okay. Let's look behind the curtain a wee bit. We know how these things work. We know these two guys will work together to a degree to bring the very best that they can do because they want to steal the show. I mean, it's funny. Well, all these guys generally do hate each other. They might, but they also both want the same thing, which is to steal the show. We want to be the best thing on the show. Punk wants to do that for Triple H and for WWE from a different reason. Seth Rollins is WWE and wants to do it for Triple H for a completely different reason. Also, his wife's back, so he doesn't want to get shown up. I think the only way I don't see Seth needs the win, technically.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Seth needs the win. If Punk doesn't win, I don't think it hurts him necessarily.
Yeah.
So it's a tricky one for me.
Punk's Punk. Punk's similar to Roman. CM Punk losing a match doesn't change anything. You know, people were going, "Oh, Drew beat Punk at SummerSlam. What's next?" Well, he went on and beat Drew twice. You know, it wasn't a huge deal.
I think in some way Punk will want to give this to Seth.
I get what you're saying. I
think in some way he'll want to give this to Seth.
I think there is a deep down. These are two guys that I said this a few weeks ago. They want to fuck Billy. You know, they are. These are two guys. These are two guys that are just ready to lock lips as the bell goes.
They've definitely held each other's necks.
Oh,
you know
yes,
definitely. I'll tell you this now. That's happened.
But I'll stick with my gut for my prediction.
If the fan fiction is to be believed, Ryan. If the fan fiction is to be believed.
I didn't write it, just to clarify. I did wonder.
Yeah, I did 118 filth.
I'm going to stick with my gut, Billy. I'm going to go Punk. I'm going to go
Seth to make it interesting. Although I want to say for the record, I still kind of want Punk to win because I just enjoy watching CM Punk win. What do you want me to say?
Same.
What do you want me to say? But I think if Seth wins, this has to lead to something. We could do. I'm going to come out and say we could do some heels. We could do with. Although
I think Seth needs to go heel soon. I really do. I think that we're seeing signs of a Seth who is showing the heel characteristics of someone who's maybe a bit bitter, a bit jealous.
Yeah.
And I think that flipping him full heel would do him and the WWE good.
We need a different Seth though than the one that's been heel previously.
Yeah, be fresh with it, 100%.
I'm just saying it. We need something different because this version of it is two baby faces and comes across as whiny and bitter, like you say. So, let's say Seth on that one. Anything else you're worried or concerned about? We've had a couple of people getting in touch, like you say. Lots of people saying about the ring mats and what have you. Which, I would just say to anybody, guys, just deal with it. Just deal with it.
You're going to have to. It's not going to change. Like, it's either get used to it quick or let it annoy you forever. And I was somebody who was so... When the TKO merger happened, I was so... I don't want to use the word scared. It wasn't like I was like in the corner of my room petrified, but I was kind of nervous at the aspect of change in WWE, especially presentation change. And then I realised, well, at the end of the day, this merger that's it now. It's done. And if I don't get used to it, then I'm just going to be annoyed about it forever. So
yeah, exactly. And everything needs to evolve in that way, and I'm excited about this. A lot of people are excited about Penta's debut. What they're going to do with Penta, him working in Rey Mysterio. I think that would be great. It would be quite good if Penta came in heel. I'm going to come in and say it, but I think he looks like he's going to come in face. Heel Penta versus Rey Mysterio.
I seen a great suggestion on Twitter the other day, which I'm a huge fan of. And if he is tagging with Rey Mysterio on his first appearance, get the LWO down at ringside, get Zelina Vega to turn on Rey Mysterio, join Penta, Penta needs a mouthpiece. Zelina Vega is one of the best women in the entire company on the mic.
Love that.
Get her as the manager of Penta and get her out of the LWO. Team them together.
Love that. That would be great for her. That would be great for her. I would love that. So apart from that, that's all I'm really kind of excited about. We had, like I said, we've had a lot of questions. I had people asking about what do we think about the Rumble going to Saudi. Again, I just think we're gonna have to accept it, folks. It's a done deal. Hopefully, it doesn't mean I would. Yes, I agree with a couple of people saying I wish it had come to Europe first. To be honest, but it's the first.
At the end of the day, it's going somewhere, and like you've got to be delicate about how you talk about it. Oh my God, the Saudis shouldn't get it. We should get it. You can't exactly put us on a pedestal at times. You know, what I will say is, look for the positive, guys. It means that the Rumble's going to be on at like 6 o'clock. Great, fantastic for us.
Love it.
You know, crowd might be a bit. But like at the end of the day, it's on at a great hour.
That's it, and it's going to be interesting to see who is paid for to be a part of the Royal Rumble.
I guess that I have a couple of questions that I can merge into one here.
Go on.
I guess they would be probably more suited to a normal edition of the podcast rather than this episode, which has been more tailor made for Raw. But if just to wrap up my questions that I kind of got asked here, Jake asked, Stephen asked, if you would have one big, bold prediction for 2025, is there any that jump out to you? Whether it's, somebody becoming a world champion, whether it's, I don't know, a debut, a jump between companies, just something related to Raw. Is there anything that necessarily jumps out as bold to you if you were to predict it? It's hard when you're on the spot, isn't it?
Yeah, I can't think of any big jumps between the companies that I think would be game-changing. I think we've kind of had that. The only one would have been potentially being MJF, but MJF needs to get reheated.
And he's tied down to a contract until something like 2029 or something.
Seemingly, and they're not going to let him go.
No.
So I don't see any big jumps. Although I think the rumor has it we're going to see an influx of some guys from TNA. Excited about that. Oh God, any big predictions?
I think that if I was to say something bold,
go on.
And it's not necessary. This is what I mean. I don't see anything necessarily bold happening this year, which is good, because then if something bold does happen, it's completely unpredictable, and that's when the best bold things happen, when they're unpredictable.
Yeah.
But if I was to say anything, I have a feeling if he does get called up to the main roster this year, I think that Obafemi is the new Gunther. I can see him winning a championship in his first couple of weeks on the roster, and I think it could be a big year for him.
Yes, I'd agree with that. That sounds great. Big old Femi. It feels like he's already outgrown the company, but the thing is, what everyone has to remember is he is still quite green. He is still quite new.
Oh yeah. He's still got a way to go. That's why I kind of caveated my point with if he gets called up this year, because I don't think it's a guarantee by any stretch.
Well, you saw how long they held off on Braun Breaker.
Yep.
And people were calling for Braun Breaker to debut the week after he debuted on NXT.
That's
so,
right.
I think, I don't think there's no big returns or anything that are jumping out at me. I think we're going to see Punk with World Heavyweight Championship around his belt again at one point. I hope we retire Money in the Bank.
Oh, okay.
I want them to retire Money in the Bank. I think it's done. So that would be. I hope that Tiffany Stratton's passion was the last.
I don't want to break your heart about it because you know what, I'm not against it, but it's so funny because you want it retired, and then like last week the whole thing was like starting from 2026, Money in the Bank's going to be a 2-night event.
I just want it fucking retired. I just it's done. I just think it's done. There are no tag teams or anything. This year I want to sit back and enjoy the ride.
So do I. I want the dirt sheets to piss off and let me enjoy it as it comes, Billy.
Yep. And if someone could have a word with Dave Meltzer, make sure he's all right, that would be great. All right, that's our first show of 2025. Little mini preview going into Monday Night Raw debuting on Netflix. It's going to be a landscape changer for not only WWE, like I say, but just I think sports in general. It's going to be huge. Who knows? Are we going to start seeing the NFL? Are we going to start seeing the SPL on Netflix?
Very much doubt it, but who knows?
Do you know what someone in Missouri needs to watch? Ross County versus Clydebank.
Oh, there's a cracking card here. If any American listeners are for some reason watching right now, trust me, get BBC on tonight and watch the highlights for Partick Thistle versus Inferno. You are missing an absolute cracker there.
So yeah, it's gonna be a good year and a big year for us. We are doing our best to get the word out there, and we need more and more people to get involved. So don't worry, we are going to be seeing you very, very soon. Don't forget, you can. And the big news. What should I say? We've signed a deal. We're making the jump. We're making the jump. I'm going to tell them about it, Ryan.
Okay.
We are also going to be on Spotify, everybody. We are now officially on Spotify. You can get all the episodes up to now, and just to make it a little bit more sexy, they're in audio form. So if you want your videos, come here and say hi. But if you want to check out the audio form, listen to us on the go. You can do it when you're in the gym. You can do it when you're going around home bargains. You can do it when you're maybe stalking somebody pondering a murder. Why not? Why not? Even murderers like pro wrestling. What a weird way to end the show. That one totally got away from me. Right. All that's left to say is don't forget to follow Ryan on all his social medias. You can follow me as well. And we will see you on the next regular episode of Wrestling Forever. The I Knows will be back. The Rebooker 2 will be back. And who knows, it's 2025. Anything could happen. Right. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.